Hi, are you interested in getting a simple tip that you can use to gain a bigger perspective, a simple way to center yourself in this complicated world? Well, if so, I've got a special guest today who's going to help us. This is Eddie LaSure with A Mindful Emergence, where Margaret and I offer you simple steps that you can take using mindfulness, movement, and breathing practices for your own spiritual transformation. And today I'm very, very happy to be joined by Steve Martin. And Steve, in addition to being a friend of mine, which I'm very happy about, is a really interesting guy. Among his accomplishments is he's an author of this really, really interesting book called Cosmic Conversations. He's an astronomer, an educator. He has taught astronomy, physics, and consciousness studies at colleges, universities, and learning centers across the U.S. for over 25 years. He's currently one of the lead instructors for the Deeptime Network, and he's adjunct faculty in the Consciousness and Transformation Studies program at John F. Kennedy University. Steve frequently offers experiential workshops on stargazing, astronomy, and personal transformation at observatories, learning centers, and other popular venues around the world. And I've experienced that here in the Asheville area, where we went out and it was dark, and you were pointing out all these really interesting things that I had no idea about. So welcome, Steve.
Thanks so much, Eddie. It's great to be
Appreciate
here.
you joining us. So when I start delving into astronomy and cosmology and physics and all this stuff, I get lost easily. So I'm really welcoming an opportunity to really center myself in a bigger perspective. So please share with us what you have for us today.
Well, thanks, Eddie. And the bigger perspective, I think, is an important one because we tend to get narrowly focused at times, especially when we're stressed, right? We get very myopic. We think this is what's happening is the only thing that's happening. And so what I like to do is encourage people to take a step back. First of all, take a deep breath, right? You can always take a deep breath. Take a step back. And I call this the 10 truth practice, right? Or the T10 practice. And just name 10 things that are true right now, right? So I'm wearing a blue shirt. There's pine trees outside, right? You're wearing a dark sweater, right? I'm mad at my spouse, right? The air is clear. The sky is blue. The grass is growing. The earth is turning, right? The sun is evolving. Right? And what this does is it takes a step back from the personal and includes the personal as something in a larger field, right? So one of the insights from cosmology is that we're all part of an evolving universe, right? We're all part of something that gave birth to itself something like 13.8 billion years ago, right? All this matter and energy that's around us came from the same flaring forth event, and it's still doing its thing. And so by naming things that are happening, naming truths that are true, you're aligning yourself with that evolutionary energy, right? So it's not just me and what's happening with my little life, but my life is part of a larger life that's happening. The trees are growing. I'm mad at my spouse. The sky is blue today, right? So by doing that, your situation becomes part of a larger situation. So, and this does two things. One, it expands your lens so that you're taking in your situation as part of something that's happening, right? Maybe without you even doing it, certainly without you even doing it. And it disidentifies you from being the doer or the victim in the situation, right? So two things. And I found it's very helpful, right? 10 truths. You can do this in the grocery line. You can do this while you're driving. You can do this anytime, any place. And it makes a big difference because you're basically changing the ground from which you're experiencing yourself, and you're aligning with something larger. And you do this enough and you get the feeling, the sense, and the lived experience of being a part of something larger, being a part of a larger movement that's always changing, that's always coming up with new truths. And the interesting thing about this practice is if you do it 2 times in a row, it's going to be different, right? Because the truth of what's happening is always changing, right? Oh, the sky is not blue anymore. It's a little bit gray right now, right? So we are a process that's part of a larger process. And so that's where the disidentification is important, because I think that I'm the one who's right here, right? Well, I am a process that's only true in this moment. That's changing as well. So I'm no longer angry right now. I'm a little bit more expanded. I'm breathing more. Right? That's true what's right now. You can do this all day long, and it's just a wonderful practice.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to try the T10 practice, see if it makes a difference, and I hope it does for you.
Well, it reminds me of the phrase, you can't stand in the same stream twice.
Exactly, right?
Things are
Because we're all
constantly
part of the
changing.
stream.
And the other thing
Exactly.
that comes to mind is I tend to get wrapped up in a story, in a narrative. And of course, I believe it's all true.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if I get really spinning, and what this does is it kind of hits the pause button, a reframe, a rebooting of perspective.
Yeah. And in stories are great, but they're
Hmm.
based on fixed roles, right? And the amazing thing about this is we're part of a story, but we're actors in a larger story
Yeah,
that's always evolving, always changing.
yeah. Well, that's great. And I love how we can do this anywhere. Anywhere, no matter what we're doing, we can pause, we can breathe, take a breath. And maybe there's even in the process of doing that a sense of grounding and softening. And then name 10 things that are true right now. Some of them may be in our visual field, some of them emotional, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Some might be near, some might be far,
yeah.
right? The bigger your area of awareness, the more that can be included in it.
Well, this is great. I'm going to remember this, and it's so helpful. So, Steve, your book's on Amazon. I checked this morning,
Yes,
and
it is.
available, Cosmic Conversations. And you have some amazing interviews in here. Brian Swimmer, Fred Van Wolf, Barbara Marks Hubbard, Richard Tarnas, who is one of the, I mean, when I listen to him, he's amazing. And then Christopher Bache, who lives right up the road in
Yeah.
Weaverville now with his wife. So they can get this book on Amazon. How can they find out more about what you do and contact you? And by the way, I'll put this information in the description that comes with the book.
Great. Great. Thanks, Eddie. They can go to my website, which is www.cosmicconversations.org. I'm also the lead instructor for the Deeptime Network, which is dtnetwork.org. And I also have a Facebook page called Cosmic Adventures, where I advertise stargazing and other opportunities that are coming up locally and also remotely. We're doing stargazing by video link now, and it's working really well.
Hmm. Can we look forward to some stargazing events fairly soon, or is that being kept on hold because of the pandemic?
Not at all. We're doing a cross-country stargazing event next month called Contemplative Stargazing, where we basically gaze up at the night sky and we feel into the cosmic perspective. And I'll drop in some insights. It's a meditative experience that's very transformative,
All right,
and
so
I'll
that'll be
have
on the
links to that as
Facebook
well.
page.
That'll be there
Facebook
as well.
page, yeah, great.
Yes.
Well, Steve, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And by the way, folks, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and check out the YouTube channel. Maybe there's some other videos on there that you find helpful. We love your comments. And if you have any questions for Steve, I will make sure he gets those questions or comments. And if there's a response there, I'll post it on the channel as well. So thank you again, Steve, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks so much, Eddie. Take care.